Part 1 video link is in description and subscribe our channel if you like this video. 8. The Red Room Curse. An internet pop-up that asks users if they like the Red Room. Those who see the pop-up are said to die under mysterious circumstances soon after. The story of the Red Room Curse begins like many urban legends, shrouded in mystery and difficult to trace back to a single source. However, it is believed to have originated on the internet, spreading through forums, chat rooms, and eventually becoming the subject of various creepypastas and horror stories. The tale centers around a pop-up that appears on the screen of an unsuspecting internet user. The pop-up is plain and unassuming at first, featuring a simple red background with black text that asks a single, chilling question: "Do you like the Red Room?" At this point, there is no indication of anything supernatural or cursed. It's just a strange, seemingly harmless piece of internet folklore. But, as the story goes, those who encounter the pop-up are drawn into a sinister sequence of events that eventually leads to their untimely death. The Red Room legend became truly infamous after it was linked to a real-life incident in Japan in 2004. The murder of Satomi Mitarai, a 12-year-old schoolgirl, by her classmate was allegedly inspired by a flash animation based on the Red Room curse. This event shocked the nation and gave the urban legend a chilling new context. Although there is no direct evidence linking the Red Room curse to the crime, the association was enough to cement the legend's place in the annals of Japanese horror. As the story evolved, it became more than just an eerie internet phenomenon. It became a tale of obsession, with the Red Room pop-up seen as a harbinger of doom. According to the legend, once you see the pop-up, it becomes impossible to close. Even if you try to shut down your computer or disconnect from the internet, the pop-up will persist, asking its ominous question again and again. The unsettling nature of this relentless pop-up is part of what makes the Red Room curse so effective as a horror story. It taps into the fear of technology, a fear of losing control over the machines we rely on. In this case, the machine turns against you, trapping you in a cycle of fear. Once the pop-up has appeared and cannot be closed, the curse takes hold. The user who encounters the Red Room is said to feel a growing sense of dread and paranoia, as if they are being watched or followed. Soon after, they start to hear whispers and strange noises, both from their computer and from their surroundings. The pop-up then changes, displaying a list of names, victims of the curse who have seen the Red Room before. The final name on the list is the current user, a clear indication that their fate is sealed. In the final, terrifying twist of the story, the user is compelled to take their own life. They are found dead in their room, and the walls of the room are painted red with their own blood, a gruesome manifestation of the Red Room that they encountered online. While the Red Room curse is largely considered an urban legend, its impact on popular culture and the fear it has generated is very real. The story has inspired various adaptations, including flash animations, horror films, and even video games. Each adaptation adds its own twist, but the core elements of the pop-up, the question, and the inevitable death remain constant. The most notorious real-life incident linked to the Red Room curse is the aforementioned 2004 murder. While it is unclear how much influence the legend had on the crime, the association between a fictional curse and a real tragedy has only deepened the legend's dark reputation. Other encounters with the Red Room are typically anecdotal and come from internet users who claim to have experienced the pop-up or know someone who has. These stories often end with the user managing to escape the curse, either by shutting down their computer in time or by ignoring the pop-up. However, the legend insists that those who encounter the Red Room cannot escape, leaving a lingering sense of dread in anyone who hears the story. The Red Room curse has spawned numerous rumors and variations over the years. Some versions of the story suggest that the curse only affects those who are already predisposed to depression or suicidal thoughts, while others claim that the pop-up is sent by a malicious hacker or a supernatural entity. There are also rumors that the curse can spread through different forms of media, not just through the internet, but also through videos, text messages, and even spoken word. This makes the Red Room Curse a kind of modern-day digital ghost story, with the power to adapt and evolve with new technology. The curse has also been linked to the broader genre of Japanese internet horror, often referred to as net lore or net urban legends. These stories thrive in the anonymity and vastness of the internet, where they can spread quickly and take on a life of their own. The Red Room Curse is one of the most enduring examples of this phenomenon, continuing to haunt the dark corners of the web to this day. 9. The Kuchisake Tunnel. A haunted tunnel that is said to change its length depending on the time of day, and is inhabited by spirits of laborers who died during its construction. The Kuchisake Tunnel, located in the western part of Kyoto, was built in 1927 during the Taisho period. The tunnel stretches about 444 meters in length and was originally constructed as a railway passage to connect the surrounding areas. Its creation was part of a broader effort to improve transportation in the region, making it easier for people to travel through the mountainous terrain. However, the tunnel's construction was marred by tragedy. Many of the workers who built the tunnel were reportedly treated poorly, forced to work in harsh conditions for little pay. Some accounts even suggest that the workers were physically abused and subjected to unsafe working environments, leading to numerous accidents and deaths during the construction process. It wasn't long after the tunnel's completion that strange occurrences began to surface. Locals and travelers alike started reporting eerie experiences as they passed through the tunnel. The unsettling atmosphere seemed to intensify at night, when the tunnel would be engulfed in darkness, with only the dim headlights of passing vehicles to pierce through the blackness. Over time, the tunnel earned a reputation for being haunted. Stories spread of ghostly apparitions, mysterious sounds, and a suffocating sense of dread that seemed to hang in the air. As the legend grew, so did the number of supernatural encounters, transforming the Kuchisake Tunnel from a simple passageway into a place of fear and intrigue. One of the most common experiences reported by those who dare to venture through the Kuchisake Tunnel is the sighting of ghostly figures. These apparitions are often described as shadowy shapes that appear suddenly in the middle of the tunnel, only to vanish just as quickly. Some drivers have claimed to see a lone woman standing by the roadside, dressed in white. As they approach her, she disappears, leaving behind an icy chill in the air. There are also stories of drivers losing control of their vehicles for no apparent reason, as if some unseen force were trying to steer them off the road. Others have reported hearing disembodied voices whispering in the darkness, or the sound of footsteps echoing through the tunnel, even when no one else is around. One particularly eerie aspect of the Kuchisake Tunnel is the belief that the length of the tunnel changes depending on whether you are walking through it during the day or at night. This bizarre phenomenon is said to be a manifestation of the tunnel's haunted nature, as if the spirits within are distorting reality itself. Another chilling legend associated with the tunnel involves the mirrors that line the walls. It is said that if you see a ghostly reflection in the mirror while passing through the tunnel, you will soon meet a tragic fate. This belief has led many to avoid looking into the mirrors altogether, for fear of glimpsing something that should not be seen. As with many urban legends, the stories surrounding the Kuchisake Tunnel have grown and evolved over time. Some rumors suggest that the tunnel was built over an ancient burial ground, disturbing the spirits of those who were laid to rest there. Others believe that the tunnel is a gateway to another world, where the spirits of the dead can cross over into the realm of the living. There is also speculation that the tunnel's haunted nature is connected to the tragic deaths of the workers who built it. The restless souls of these workers are said to linger in the tunnel, seeking vengeance for the suffering they endured during its construction. Some have even claimed that the tunnel is cursed, and that those who pass through it are at risk of being cursed as well. This belief has led to various rituals and superstitions aimed at warding off the tunnel's malevolent forces, such as honking your car horn before entering or avoiding the tunnel altogether during certain times of the year. 10. Kakuri-san. A Japanese version of a Ouija board game, which is used to communicate with spirits. Playing the game improperly is said to bring bad luck or summon malevolent spirits. Kakuri-san's origins are rooted in the Meiji era of Japan, around the late 19th century. This was a period of rapid modernization, where Western influences began to blend with traditional Japanese culture. It was during this time that Kakuri-san emerged as a popular pastime, similar to the Western Ouija board. The game involves 3 or more people using a coin on a piece of paper marked with the hiragana alphabet, numbers, and simple words like yes or no. Participants ask questions, and the coin, supposedly moved by a spirit, spells out the answers. The name Kakuri-san itself is a blend of 3 words, ko, meaning fox, ku, meaning dog, and ri, meaning raccoon. In Japanese folklore, these animals are known for their supernatural abilities, particularly the fox, which is believed to be a shapeshifter and a trickster. Initially, Kakuri-san was seen as a harmless game, often played by schoolchildren or curious adults. It was a way to connect with the spiritual world, ask questions about love, future, or fortune, and perhaps to glimpse into the mysteries of life. It was light-hearted, a form of entertainment, with little concern for any malevolent consequences. But as time went on, Kakuri-san took on a darker aspect. People began to report strange occurrences, unsettling experiences that seemed to defy explanation. The harmless game started to gain a reputation as something more sinister, something that could potentially open a door to malevolent forces. The stories of Kakuri-san becoming haunted started to emerge during the post-war period in Japan. As the country struggled with its recovery, there was a resurgence of interest in the supernatural, and Kakuri-san was not immune to this trend. People began to believe that playing the game could summon spirits, not just benign ones, but angry or vengeful entities. One of the most common warnings was to never play Kakuri-san alone. Doing so, it was said, would leave the participant vulnerable to possession or worse, attracting a spirit that could linger long after the game ended. There were also strict rules to follow. You must always say goodbye to Kakuri-san at the end of the game, and never ask about death or the afterlife. Failure to adhere to these rules could have dire consequences. Over the years, many unsettling incidents have been associated with Kakuri-san. There are tales of participants who failed to properly end the game, only to be plagued by misfortune, illness, or accidents. Some even claim that the spirits invoked by Kakuri-san can follow you home, manifesting as poltergeist-like activity, objects moving on their own, strange noises, or eerie feelings of being watched. In one particularly chilling story, a group of schoolchildren played Kakuri-san during a lunch break. They asked innocuous questions, laughing as the coin moved seemingly on its own. But when they asked about their teacher, who had recently passed away under mysterious circumstances, the atmosphere changed. The coin spelled out a message that none of them could forget: "I am here." Terrified, the children ended the game abruptly, but they reported strange dreams and eerie occurrences for weeks afterward. Encounters with Kakuri-san are often reported by those who dare to play the game despite its ominous reputation. Participants have described feeling an intense, oppressive atmosphere, as if the room itself becomes charged with energy. Some have seen shadows moving out of the corner of their eyes or heard whispers that no one else could hear. One particularly famous encounter involved a group of high school girls who played Kakuri-san in an abandoned building. They asked playful questions at first, but as the session went on, they began to feel a sense of dread. The coin moved faster and faster, spelling out cryptic, threatening messages. Suddenly, one of the girls screamed and fainted. When she came to, she claimed to have seen a ghostly figure standing behind them. The girls fled the building in terror, and none of them ever spoke of the incident again. 11. Naprobo, Faceless Ghost. A ghost that initially appears human but reveals a smooth, featureless face to its victims, causing terror. The Naprobo's story stretches back centuries, deeply rooted in Japan's rich tapestry of ghost stories and yokai legends. Unlike many spirits with tragic or vengeful backstories, the Naprobo is shrouded in mystery, as it is not associated with a particular person or event. Instead, it appears to be a more generalized manifestation of the fears and anxieties present in Japanese society. The concept of the Naprobo may be linked to ancient beliefs in shape-shifting spirits, who could take on various forms to deceive or frighten humans. In classical Japanese literature and art, ghosts, or yurei, often take on specific forms or appearances, each with their own set of characteristics and stories. However, the Naprobo is unique in that it lacks defining facial features, appearing as an ordinary human with a blank, smooth face. This facelessness taps into a primal fear of the unknown, the fear of encountering something that defies normalcy, leaving us grasping for meaning in the void. The Naprobo first gained widespread recognition during the Edo period, a time when ghost stories, known as kaiden, were popular entertainment. These stories were often told orally or written down, with many being published in collections of supernatural tales. One of the most famous stories involving the Naprobo is found in Lafcadio Hearn's Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things, published in 1904. Although Hearn's work is a compilation of various ghost stories, his retelling of the Naprobo's tale brought it to the attention of a broader, international audience. In Hearn's version, a fisherman encounters the Naprobo by a river, first as a beautiful woman and later as a fellow fisherman. Each time, the seemingly ordinary person turns to reveal a blank, featureless face, causing the fisherman to flee in terror. The tale emphasizes the Naprobo's ability to appear normal at first glance, only to reveal its true, terrifying nature when one gets too close. As time passed, the Naprobo continued to appear in various forms of media, from woodblock prints and paintings to modern manga, anime, and films. The story adapted with the times, with the faceless ghost sometimes appearing in urban settings or being tied to more contemporary fears. However, its core essence, the unsettling encounter with a seemingly ordinary person who suddenly becomes something entirely alien, remained constant. Over the years, there have been numerous accounts of people encountering the Naprobo, often in desolate or eerie locations. These encounters are typically brief, leaving the witness in a state of shock and disbelief. One such story involves a man walking late at night through the streets of Tokyo. He noticed a woman ahead of him, walking alone. Concerned for her safety, he approached her to offer assistance. As he drew near and spoke to her, she turned around to reveal a completely smooth face, devoid of eyes, nose, or mouth. The man stumbled back in horror, and when he looked again, she was gone. Another account tells of a traveler who stopped at a roadside tea house for a rest. The tea house was seemingly empty, but soon, a young woman appeared to serve him. As he drank his tea, he noticed her movements were strange, almost mechanical. When he finally got a clear look at her face, he saw nothing but a blank, featureless surface. The traveler fled, never to return. The Naprobo has inspired a range of interpretations and variations, each adding its own twist to the legend. Some believe that the Naprobo is not a ghost at all but rather a shape-shifting creature, such as a fox or tanuki, playing tricks on humans. In this interpretation, the facelessness is a deliberate illusion meant to frighten or confuse. In other versions, the Naprobo is said to appear in places where people are vulnerable, such as late at night when they are alone or in unfamiliar territory. These encounters are seen as warnings, urging people to be cautious and aware of their surroundings. Some even suggest that the Naprobo may be a manifestation of the guilt or fear that people carry with them, an external projection of internal turmoil. There are also stories of the Naprobo appearing in pairs or groups, with entire crowds of faceless people surrounding a victim, increasing the sense of isolation and terror. This communal aspect of the Naprobo's appearance suggests a deeper commentary on the fear of losing one's identity or being swallowed by the anonymity of society. 12. The Curse of the Ring, Ringu. Popularized by the movie, The Ring, this legend involves a cursed videotape that leads to death if the viewer doesn't pass the curse on. The origins of the Curse of the Ring can be traced back to ancient Japanese folklore, where the concept of curses and vengeful spirits, known as onryo, has long been a part of the cultural landscape. These spirits were believed to be the souls of those who had died with intense anger or sorrow, and who would return to the world of the living to exact their revenge. The idea of a cursed object, one that carries with it a malevolent force capable of bringing death and misfortune, is a theme that has resonated in many cultures, but in Japan, it has taken on a particularly eerie form. The specific story that would become Ringu began to take shape in the late 20th century, inspired by a blend of traditional ghost stories and modern fears. It was during this time that a novel, written by Koji Suzuki, brought the legend to life in a way that would captivate and terrify audiences. The novel, published in 1991, was influenced by the real-life practices of kagutsu, an ancient Japanese ritual involving dolls and curses, as well as the modern obsession with technology and its potential dangers. The story centers around a cursed videotape, but before the videotape, there was the tale of a woman named Sadako Yamamura, whose tragic life and death would lay the foundation for the curse. Sadako was born with psychic abilities, a gift that quickly turned into a curse as she was feared and ostracized by those around her. Her life was marked by isolation and suffering, leading to her untimely death under mysterious and violent circumstances. It is said that Sadako's intense rage and sorrow infused the videotape with a deadly curse, one that would claim the lives of anyone who watched it. After her death, Sadako's curse began to manifest in the form of the videotape, a medium that allowed her spirit to reach out and ensnare new victims. The legend goes that anyone who watches the tape receives a phone call immediately afterward, with a chilling message that simply states, "You have 7 days." During those 7 days, the viewer is haunted by terrifying visions and an overwhelming sense of dread, as the curse tightens its grip, leading to their inevitable demise on the 7th day. The haunting nature of the curse lies not only in the supernatural elements but also in the psychological torment it inflicts on its victims. The fear of death, coupled with the inability to escape the curse, creates a sense of helplessness and despair. The cursed videotape became a symbol of modern fears, technology, isolation, and the unknown. The story of Ringu was brought to life in 1998 when the novel was adapted into a film by director Hideo Nakata. The movie was a critical and commercial success, praised for its atmospheric horror and the way it tapped into deep-seated fears. The haunting image of Sadako, with her long black hair covering her face, emerging from a well and crawling out of a television screen, became an iconic symbol of terror. As the legend of Ringu spread, so did stories of real-life encounters with the curse. People began to report strange occurrences after watching the film or reading the book. There were tales of mysterious phone calls with no one on the other end, sightings of a shadowy figure resembling Sadako, and even reports of people experiencing terrifying nightmares for 7 days after being exposed to the story. One particularly chilling rumor involved a group of friends who, after watching the film together, decided to test the legend by making a prank phone call to one of their own, mimicking the voice on the tape. The prank quickly turned into horror as the person who received the call reported seeing visions of Sadako and later died under mysterious circumstances exactly 7 days later. This incident fueled the belief that the curse was not just fiction, but a real and deadly phenomenon. Another rumor that circulated was the idea that the curse could be transferred through any medium, whether it be a videotape, a DVD, or even a digital file. This notion added a layer of unease in an increasingly digital world, where information spreads rapidly and uncontrollably. In one version, the cursed object was not a videotape, but a cursed website that, once visited, would trigger the same deadly countdown. In another, it was a cursed email or text message. These variations kept the legend alive and relevant in a rapidly changing world, where new forms of technology brought new fears and anxieties. 13. Hachishikuzuma, 8 feet tall. A tall woman-like creature that mimics the voice of a loved one to lure children and abduct them. The origins of Hachishikuzuma are shrouded in mystery. Unlike many urban legends that can be traced back to a specific historical event or time period, the story of Hachishikuzuma seems to have emerged from the collective consciousness of rural Japan. It is said that the legend has been passed down through generations, primarily in the countryside, where the eerie silence of the open fields and dense forests adds to the terror. Hachishikuzuma, whose name literally means 8 feet tall, is described as a tall, slender woman with a height of approximately 8 feet. She is often seen wearing a long, white dress or a funeral shroud, her face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. The entity is known for its eerie, deep, malevolent laugh, which sounds like puh, 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 a sound that sends chills down the spine of anyone who hears it. The entity is believed to have existed for centuries, preying on children and young adults, especially boys, who are unfortunate enough to catch her attention. The origin of Hachishikuzuma's haunting presence is unclear, but it is often associated with areas that have experienced tragedy, death, or suffering. Some say she is a vengeful spirit, while others believe she is a yokai, a type of supernatural creature in Japanese folklore. Regardless of her origin, one thing is certain: once Hachishikuzuma sets her sights on someone, their fate is sealed. The legend of Hachishikuzuma became widely known in the late 2000s, largely due to its spread on Japanese internet forums and websites dedicated to sharing ghost stories and urban legends. The story typically follows a similar pattern: a young boy or girl visits a rural area, often to stay with grandparents or relatives. During their stay, they encounter a strange, tall woman who seems to be watching them from a distance. The encounter is often brief, but unsettling, with the child hearing the ominous puh, puh, puh sound as the woman disappears from view. After the initial encounter, strange things begin to happen. The child might start to feel an unexplained sense of dread, see fleeting shadows, or hear the laugh of Hachishikuzuma again, this time closer. When the child tells their grandparents or relatives about the strange woman, they react with immediate fear and urgency, recognizing the signs of Hachishikuzuma's curse. The family then takes drastic measures to protect the child, often involving rituals, talismans, or even fleeing the area. However, the outcome is usually grim. Once marked by Hachishikuzuma, escape is nearly impossible. The story of Hachishikuzuma has become one of Japan's most popular urban legends, especially among younger generations who share and retell the tale on social media and horror websites. The legend has also inspired various adaptations in manga, anime, and video games, further cementing its place in modern Japanese folklore. While the legend of Hachishikuzuma is often dismissed as mere folklore, there are numerous stories of real-life encounters that add a layer of credibility and fear to the tale. These stories are often shared in hushed tones, as those who claim to have encountered Hachishikuzuma are reluctant to speak too openly about their experiences, fearing that mentioning her name might attract her attention. One of the most well-known stories involves a young boy who visited his grandparents in a rural village. The boy was playing in the garden when he saw a tall, white figure standing near the edge of the property. The figure was so tall that it seemed to touch the sky. The boy watched in both awe and fear as the figure slowly turned and disappeared into the forest. That night, the boy was unable to sleep, haunted by the memory of the figure and the sound of her laughter, echoing in the night. The boy's grandparents, upon hearing his story, reacted with immediate concern. They placed protective charms around the house and instructed the boy to stay indoors and avoid looking out of the windows. Despite their efforts, the boy continued to hear the eerie puh, puh, puh sound, each time closer than before. Eventually, the family was forced to leave the village, hoping that distance would protect the boy from Hachishikuzuma's curse. However, the boy never fully recovered from the experience, and he was plagued by nightmares and a lingering sense of dread for years to come. There are numerous theories and rumors surrounding the nature of Hachishikuzuma. Some believe she is a manifestation of the grief and suffering of those who have lost loved ones, particularly children. Others suggest she is a yokai, a supernatural entity that feeds on the fear and souls of the living. There are even those who believe Hachishikuzuma is an ancient deity, forgotten and forsaken, now wandering the earth in search of offerings. The story of Hachishikuzuma is often compared to other Japanese urban legends, such as Kuchisake-onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman, and Tik-Tik, both of which involve vengeful spirits that target the living. Like these legends, Hachishikuzuma's story serves as a cautionary tale, warning people to respect the unknown and the supernatural forces that may lurk in the shadows. 14. The Girl from the Gap. A ghost that resides in small spaces, such as the gap between furniture and walls. If you make eye contact, she may pull you into her world. The origins of the girl from the gap are shrouded in mystery, much like the spirit herself. Unlike other urban legends that have a clear starting point or historical event that triggered the haunting, this legend seems to have grown organically within Japanese culture. It is believed that the story may have evolved from older superstitions and beliefs about spirits inhabiting the unseen spaces of homes. In traditional Japanese culture, there has always been a strong belief in spirits and the supernatural. From the ancient Eerie, ghosts, to the yokai, supernatural creatures, Japan's folklore is rich with tales of entities that exist just beyond the veil of the everyday world. The girl from the gap fits neatly into this tradition, representing a spirit that occupies the liminal spaces, those small, often overlooked gaps that exist between objects. Moving forward, once someone accidentally locks eyes with the girl from the gap, their fate is sealed. She will ask the unsuspecting person if they want to play a game of hide-and-seek. If the person agrees, or even if they don't, the girl will vanish, only to reappear later in an even more inaccessible place, such as the gap between the ceiling and the floor above or a space in the walls. The true terror comes when she reappears a second time. When she does, it is believed that she will drag the unfortunate person into her world, a realm of darkness and emptiness from which there is no escape. It is said that those who are taken by the girl from the gap are never seen again, their disappearance forever unexplained. This haunting is not tied to a specific place or time, making it all the more frightening. The spirit can manifest in any home, in any gap, at any moment. The randomness of her appearances and the inevitability of her taking those who see her make the legend particularly chilling. Numerous stories and alleged encounters with the girl from the gap have been shared online, often as part of Japanese horror forums or in oral retellings meant to scare listeners. These stories usually follow a similar pattern. Someone sees a strange girl peering out from a narrow space, and before they can react, she disappears. One popular tale involves a young woman who moved into a new apartment. She began to notice an unsettling feeling whenever she walked past a particular gap between her wardrobe and the wall. One night, as she was about to go to bed, she saw a face staring out at her from the gap. It was the face of a girl, with dark, empty eyes and a faint smile. The woman froze in fear, unable to move or look away. The girl spoke, asking if she wanted to play. Terrified, the woman screamed and fled the apartment. When she returned with friends the next day, the gap was empty, but the eerie feeling lingered. There are also stories of children encountering the girl from the gap while playing hide-and-seek. They claim to have seen a girl hiding in a small, dark space, only to find it empty when they try to hide there themselves. These encounters often end with the child being so frightened that they refuse to ever play the game again. Like many urban legends, the girl from the gap has sparked numerous rumors and interpretations. Some believe that she is the spirit of a young girl who died tragically, perhaps from being trapped in a small space, and now seeks company in her loneliness. Others suggest that she might be a demon or malevolent spirit that feeds on fear, preying on those who are unlucky enough to see her. Some people interpret the legend as a metaphor for the unseen dangers that lurk in our lives, the things we choose to ignore or overlook. The gaps and spaces where the girl is said to reside could represent the parts of our minds where we hide our deepest fears and anxieties. Encountering her is, in this sense, a confrontation with those repressed emotions. Thanks for watching.